saying it's much greater psychological harm when you take and much greater unintended consequences. When you take a
Which,
black person and put him in an environment where his value is less because of his skin color.
well, that's what segregation did. Segregation
Right, but
said your value is less. The segregation said your value is less because of your skin color. Desegregation
I
said
said it would, no.
your value is not less because of your skin color.
What segregation said, your value is less in our community, and that's different.
No, because during segregation it says your value is less
In their community, our values
in general.
our values were greater in our community during that period of time.
I don't know how you can quantify that.
Because, well, I would say statistically quantifying, but let me anecdotally qualify.
Okay.
In conversations that I've had with people who have been, my grandfather, my parents, who have been in communities, with people who I see on my counseling, in my therapy business, who have had to grow up in communities where they were undervalued. I think for us in our world, me and your brother and some of us, we got the best of both worlds because we were living in the black community and segregated over in white communities integrated into white communities. So we knew how much we were hated, and we knew what it was like to be in an environment where you were hated and to go back to a community that you were loved in. And the love that we got from the black community, the benefit of the doubt, the discipline that was community based, all those things that we got because we were living in our community.
Who's taking it? My question: who's taking that away from us now?
Because in order to get value, you have to segregate your culture to integrate in the community. That's what's happening.
No, value comes from you're saying
you talk about the psychological impact.
The psychological
that's
impact.
What I study on a regular basis.
Yeah, but the psychological, but the studies, but the statistics say this. Okay, so would you agree that if you lifespan is tied to the psychological well-being? Because the more stress you're under, the more likely you're going to die from diseases and things like that.
Right.
Okay, we know that since after desegregation, that our lifespan expanded drastically as compared to white people. So we begin to live longer because we were under less stress. And so,
I would go. So you're ignoring all of the variables that drove those kinds of things, and I'm not talking about.
No, I'm not ignoring the variables.
I'm saying that
the variables of economic wealth. Having a job, being able to go get a job, and knowing that you are going to be protected somewhat if you were racially discriminated against. And what happened is they systematically, since the 1980s, chipped away at that. So,
and I'm saying that when I, as a student, went to a place where 500, 12, 13 people get transferred over to a place where there's 500 students, where all your teachers now don't look like you, where all your coaches now don't look like you. When I move over to that environment because somebody said it was going to be a better education, psychological impact. The only thing that was clearly different is resources were given that were at an advantage. The two things that were biggest difference in being integrated was the resources were very, very different. Like they had their own books. Like when a teacher said, write your name on your book, we were like, what? Because in our community, the book belonged to the desk. So, because there wasn't enough books to go around. So you couldn't take your book home. You couldn't do none of that stuff. When we got over there was a difference in resources. And then secondly, I would say the second thing that when you got over there was history was very different. Because history taught you how white people live in America. And in the black community, history taught you how black people live in America. So I would say the economics in the white school taught how to own a business, how to run a business. The economics in black school taught you how to put in the application. So those were the major difference that were taking place. But In terms of me feeling better about myself and all that kind of stuff, I never knew I was so degraded and insignificant until I got in an environment where the people did not value me based on my community. In my community, when we were poor, we still had value.